Hi there, and welcome to the Growth Execution Podcast. And we are here every week to bring you actionable tips to help you launch, build, and grow your business. Delighted this week to be joined by Vicky Laffey. Vicky, hi there, how you doing?
Good morning, Mel. Thank you for having me.
A real genuine pleasure. Super excited to hear all about your launch story and your growth. Now, you have started something brand new as well that I'm really interested in sharing with our listeners. You've got together a summit, is that right? Talk us through a little bit about that.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a bit of a passion project of mine as well as being a business. So basically, I started a business last year which helped small business owners grow with coaching and great online content. And then at the back end of last year, I sort of had this calling, I guess, if you like, where I realised that I really wanted to help people who are going through the same position as the same situation rather as I did 10 years ago when I first started in business, which is leaving the world of employment to go into self-employment, whether that be by redundancy or by choice, or it's just making that shift is a huge life leap, and I really decided I wanted to help people with that. So that's why I created this summit, and you've very kindly been one of the guests on that, which is fantastic. So yeah, your interview was absolute gold. Actually, I'm really looking forward to sharing that with people. So yeah, I'm just getting together loads of experts and interviewing them and giving people everything they need basically to start off in the world of business and make that shift.
Yeah, listen, it's a great, as you say, kind of calling. It's a great initiative, and I think one that's so important right now. It is one of those things that we obsess about, is how to help people to make that jump. Now, obviously, that happened for you, as you say, kind of 10 years or so ago. What was your launch story?
Well, how long have you got, Mal?
You take your time. I've got my coffee.
So, well, I made the leap 10 years ago. I'm not sure if I'm allowed to mention brand names on this podcast, but
Go ahead.
I'm a former Northern Rock employee here. You may remember them from many moons ago. They were in the news quite a bit.
That's like 2008 in the kind of financial crash, right?
That's right. Yeah. So. So 2007, 2008, that all sort of kicked off massively, and my life changed really. So it wasn't until 2010 when it was our department's turn for the redundancies. But it was all rumours at that point. Anybody who's been through this knows that the rumour mill is probably a really reliable source of information in these times. But it was around about that point back in 2010. When I, by the way, worked for the IT department in Northern Rock, and it was when I sort of started thinking to myself, I just had this realization of, I can't do this anymore. I don't really want to be writing analytical documents for things, or having monthly one-to-ones, or dealing with office politics and things like that. I wanted to do something for myself, and I'm a very creative person, and have this desperate desire to be creative. So I sort of went about thinking, what did I want to do when I was younger, rather than just a job that I fell into. And one of those things was being a florist. So off I went, and I started training and things like that, and it just went from there really. And then in July of the next year, I left with my redundancy package and have never looked back. So yeah. At first, when I went into business, it was floristry. It was a creative endeavor, and it's had its highs and its lows, but it's been fantastic, and I've just had my 10 years anniversary in self-employment in January. So
congratulations. Big moment. Fantastic. And it's going to be such a familiar story for many people, perhaps those that are sitting as you were looking at those reports and thinking, my God, what am I doing? Why am I doing this? To those who have just made the leap. If there's one kind of piece of advice you'd have for people perhaps who are thinking about going and making that jump, what would it be?
Just do it. I really couldn't, say that often enough. People often say to me, "Oh gosh, that must have been so brave of you," and you know what? It really wasn't. I just sort of, it was a case of see it, want it, do it. I just sort of did it, made the leap, and maybe I should have thought about it a little more. I don't know, but
And
you
your
know,
10 years says it was a good idea. 10 years says it was a good
exactly, must be
thought.
doing something right.
Yeah.
So yeah, really, there's no time. I know it sounds really corny, but there's no time like the present. Just get yourself out there, do it. That there's no right or wrong in this, and you will never know unless you actually try it. That there's one of the big issues that I come across. Well, not issues, but sort of thoughts when I'm interviewing sort of people who are in this position, and they're wanting to start a business, but they're scared of making the leap, is the thing of they feel like they want to sort of cross the T's and dot the I's, and they want a list of things that they need to start a business. Here are the steps, and I think that's because they've come from this background of employment where they are told what to do, when to do it, that sort of thing, and they're told what's right and wrong too. So at the end of the month they'll have a monthly one-to-one, and their boss will say, yes, you did this right, or you did this wrong, or let's work on this. But it's not necessarily like that with business. I mean, I've created this summit to sort of give people that push, that leap. Give them what they need initially to get them going. But I don't think it's a case of doing like you can't do a sort of it's not a case of step by step. Basically, I mean, because there's so many factors. So yeah, I just don't hesitate. Just make that leap. Take baby steps at first if you have to, but yeah, just go for it.
Yeah, I think you're right. There is no one size fits all, is there? And that's and part of that's the beauty of it, really.
Yeah.
I mean, we spend a lot of time here at Grosh, giving people kind of foundational kind of things that they can think about along the way. But by no means is this the way that every single business needs to go in order to achieve success. And what I find is, as you've kind of indicated, is that if people are looking for perfection before they set off, then you're never going to get it, and you're never going to move right.
So massively. Yeah, it's business is a constantly evolving thing anyway. So yeah, of course, have a plan, a goal, or whatever. And having interviewed you yesterday for the summit and seen in more detail about your formula, it's real valuable stuff. So yeah, but you need something to get going, of course, but you'll never achieve perfection in business. As soon as you think you have, something else comes along, or you have to rinse and repeat and constantly evolve. And
pandemics hit, things like that. It just stuff happens.
Exactly.
And I think it's so true. And a lot of the skills that you learn by taking that leap and by having that flexibility to deal with what comes at you are going to be the things that when you later on are building and growing and there's more of you around, it's going to help you out on that as well, I think. So no, really, really, really strong advice. If you think about your kind of business, when you were setting up, when you were going out there, was there anybody who you thought of as sort of inspiration? Anybody kind of who springs to mind as somebody you think has helped to guide the way for you?
Oh gosh, blimey, that's a very good question. I don't think in terms of people who were sort of in my industry, that I don't think there was one particular person. I didn't sort of look up to one person and sort of think they were like some sort of floral god or anything like that. I took sort of little bits of inspiration from all sorts of people. In terms of business, in getting the business going, and I guess just having friends and family helping along the way, you absolutely 100% need the support of people around you. So I'm not sure if that entirely answers your question, but it's you really need people around you to be understanding and realize how hard you actually work, because you don't ever actually switch off. And it's not a case of I have done 7 hours work today at £15 per hour and I have earned XYZ. you're constantly on the go, and constantly thinking, and your mind's going, thinking of ideas and stuff. So you're pretty much constantly working, but in a good way, you know.
Yeah, exactly. And you're right that there's no kind of shut off time that perhaps people might be, and perhaps less so now, but historically people have said, right, it was 5:30 or it was 6 or whatever, and that'd be it, close the door and off you go. And particularly, I guess, with remote working, it's much more difficult to shut the door away. And one of the things that I often find with people who are launching is if they can get their product concept right, so if they can get their kind of why, the reason why they're doing this, and get buy-in from others around that tends to, like you were saying about the family and friends side of things, that's where that support comes from. They see how much it's going to help you as a person.
Yeah, I would agree. Yeah, definitely. Because I think they need to see something tangible, you know, that if they can see, you know, something that you physically sell, or you know why you do it, what you're doing, you know, they need to sort of have something to see and hold. So yeah, I think I would agree with that, and then they understand a little bit more about what you do. I always find it very interesting, actually, you know, when your mum or whoever is trying to explain to their friends what you do, you know, when they say, oh, so what does your daughter Vicky do, and you know what comes out sometimes is I don't think they really understand even now, you know. So yeah,
there's much more a direction of travel than it is any detail, isn't it? It's like, something with business. Yeah, okay.
Yeah. Should business.
Yeah, brilliant. Do you think that there's anything that's kind of a main contributor to a successful launch when you think about sort of that side of business?
Yeah, I guess. Well, having some sort of plan, that might sound really obvious, but it's something that I wish I'd have had more of. I think, well, having a plan beyond the actual launch, I would say. You know, I'm great with my creative brain at kind of getting things going, getting things motivated, get things started, opening those loops. But you know, I wish if I was to go back and give Vicky, you know, back in 2011 some advice, I would tell her to have maybe a bit more of a plan, maybe for the first, you know, even for the quarter, you know, for the first year ideally, and you know, so yeah, you get the launch going, you get your business open, and then what, you know, so but I would say also the ability to kind of think on your feet and pivot from that as well, because you can't plan everything in business. You've got to have something to sort of you know, have the buffers to sort of keep you in the bowling lane, as it were. But you've things will inevitably it's too early to say that word, inevitably come your way, and kind of steer you off course slightly. And I think you need to be able to sort of think, right, okay, we need to change this around, or we need to add this in, and pivot, and kind of just think on your feet a little bit in business as well.
Yeah, and then that kind of comes from, if you still know where you're going.
Yeah.
It's almost like if you know the why,
yeah,
then the how can flex a little bit.
Absolutely, keeps you on track. Yeah,
exactly. So actually, you know, for those listening out there, if you've got the idea, if you're thinking about going for it, you know, keep in mind what your intention is. And the how you get there is the thing that you perhaps need to be quite comfortable with flexing.
100%, yeah.
Brilliant. Do you think that there's a particular piece of advice that you got or you have had that you share most widely, that you find yourself saying most often?
Gosh, I was given all sorts of advice when I was first starting out, and I think
they're good.
Yeah. Do you remember when Business Link was a thing? Yeah, back in the day. I'm not even sure if it still is a thing, but
if anybody is from Business Link out there, apologies, but yes, get in touch.
Yeah, I mean, when I was first starting out, that they actually had advisors, you know, people who physically came out and spoke to you, and it was great. So I had a lovely advisor called Mel, and you know, she came out and visited my home, and we had a chat through the business, and she talked me through it and everything. And she gave me just a really useful piece of advice, and it was more about the kind of the pricing and you know, the financy side of it. So bearing in mind I worked on flowers at the time, and she said basically work backwards, and what she meant by that was so let's say to keep figures simple, say the profit margin on a bouquet is 50%, you know, so and you need to earn £2,000 a month to keep the business ticking over. So really, with the 50%, you need to earn probably £4,000, and then well, you need to take £4,000 in the business, and then okay, so how then work backwards? How do you sort of figure out how to earn that? So okay, so let's figure out what you need to then earn per week on the basis of a 6-day working week, which mine was, and then what does that mean per day? And then per day, put it in real terms. So how many bouquets at an average of £20 do you need to sell to make that amount per day? So that was really, really useful to me, because it kind of I don't have a financy brain at all. I don't do numbers, and that really put it in real terms for me, and it helped me figure out, okay, actually I need to be earning this much to sort of survive. So that was really, really helpful.
Yeah, that's fantastic, and so practical as well. Actually to kind of sit there and think, right, this is what my future needs to look like, and therefore this is what's going to keep the business going. Really, really great tips, and thanks so much for that. Just to dip a little bit more into the summit, and just to kind of find out what sorts of topics are covered in there. Obviously, there's this kind of launching things like that. What other topics are you looking to cover off?
Gosh, all sorts of things. I mean, bearing in mind I've worked with small businesses for gosh, it's been a year now. I can't believe that. Gosh, this year of lockdown's gone so fast. So over that time, I've sort of discovered what small business owners need in general. But like I say, over the past few months, I've also sort of niched down and sort of started interviewing people and finding out what they really need. So some of it. So sales is a big part of it. I think sales is something that we as consumers sort of struggle with, and especially new business owners. You're not confident in your business yet, and you sort of you don't feel comfortable selling to people, or you don't feel confident in your product, or you don't like to sing your own praises and charge what you're worth and things like that. So kind of the selling of your product side of it. Confidence as well. I've got a number of sort of inspirational stories of real business owners who've made that leap. I've got a lady called Shan Nix Jones, for example, who started her business a few years ago with herself, her husband, and a goat, and no business experience, no business plan, no nothing, and she just had a kitchen table that she made her product on, and that was it. And now
the goat was doing the spreadsheets, was she?
Yeah. And now she ships out 4 tons of product a day, and she's written books, and she speaks all over the world, and she's done really well. I know, well done her. And so inspirational stories like that to show people, like, guys, you can do this too. You can make this leap and be successful. What else do we have? So things like, the digital marketing, social media side of it as well, sort of a mixture of giving people the skills and knowledge as well as the confidence and the inspiration, I would say. So I've tried to sort of pick a whole number of people, of experts, coaches, authors, people like yourself, who can give people what they need to get started. So in your interview, for example, it was so valuable. We talked through product marketing and sales. You give people a bit of a whistle-stop tour of your formula, and I just know they're going to find that valuable. I've got other people sort of talking through just the kind of the thing of running a business, and how you deal with how do you be self-employed, how do you deal with the mindset shift, that sort of thing. There's all sorts of useful stuff in there.
It's going to be so cool, and thank you so much for putting it together again. Anybody listening who wants to get involved, where can they find out? Obviously there's going to be a link from us here at Groshen to it. When's it happening?
Yeah, so it starts on April the 19th. So it's an event that you have to register for. It's a free event. The videos are available for 24 hours at a time. So, and there's a great Facebook group running alongside the event as well, which we'll send you the link to when you opt in. If you head across to www.becomeyourownboss.club, I'm sure you'll pop the link in there as well, Mel. Yeah. Then that all the information will be there for you. Mal's picture will be on there and everything.
That's too loud. Great. Listen, Vicky, it's been really, really great to talk to you, and congratulations again on the initiative and for all the help you've given to new businesses and all that to come.
You're welcome.
If people want to get directly in touch with you, what's your website? What's your contact details?
Yeah, so my business is the Content Quarter. So if they head across to thecontentquarter.co.uk, or they can email me at hello@thecontentquarter.co.uk as well.
Perfect. Vicky Laffey, you've been such a great guest. Thanks so much for that. Any more tips, tricks, anything else actionable that you want to know, do get in touch with Vicky. She's absolutely all about helping you to launch and to grow your business, and we support it wholeheartedly. It's absolutely why we're here too. So listen, thanks so much for listening in. Hope you've got some really good ideas from this week's Growth Execution podcast. We'll be back next week with more on how to launch, build and grow your business. Thanks again for all your time. Look forward to catching up next week. All the best. Bye-bye.